Most high achievers are literally carrying the load on their own and pushing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going into the zone of flow or going into cruise mode. And by cruise mode, I don't mean lazy. I don't mean like you're not doing anything. I'm a doer. I get a ton of stuff done. I get a ton of stuff done in half the time that other people get it done. But I don't add more to my plate. And that's one of the things that I think most high achieving women especially do. It's like you finish your to-do list early and you think you have all this extra time and you're back on the hamster wheel of accomplishment. Do more. Like, what else can I get done? And you never stop to appreciate what you've already achieved. The other problem with high achievers and high performers is they don't really ever stop long enough to celebrate where they've come from and what they've accomplished. Because you haven't accomplished your grand world domination goals, right? Like high achievers have these such big goals and big visions. You never stop long enough to celebrate the milestones, the small wins, and they're not small. It's in your head they're small. But that's the thing. It's not about not doing more. It's not about not getting your goals achieved. Take your foot off the gas pedal, because when you are constantly trying to achieve and live up to some strange, extremely high standard, you stress yourself out and then you can't ignore anymore what's going on. So commonalities of doers and high achievers, and I'm a high achiever. We never celebrate our own wins. We don't even know how far we've come because we are so busy with our foot on the gas pedal going 90 miles an hour, trying to get to some weird off in the distance destination point that most of the time we don't even know. Because here's the other thing we do. You achieve one thing and then you've already got a whole other goal in mind, never stopping and looking around at where you've arrived at. That's a big problem for high achievers and doers. Like, ta-da, you just created this massively successful thing, or you've just achieved something big in business, or like me, when I built my home, like that was a huge project to take on. I was the general contractor, but once it was over, I didn't even stop and celebrate that at 34 years old, I had built this massive structure. Like I was the general contractor. I wasn't in construction, but I learned. I never stopped to appreciate where I had come from and where I had arrived. I had already a whole other goal in mind that had nothing to do with building a home, right? Meanwhile, I had a 1-year-old and I had an 11-year-old and I was homeschooling and running a business. And people were like, what are you doing? How are you getting all this done? And I ran the farm. And I never thought I had accomplished anything. Like, I looked at my life and these really cool things I got to play with, and I never thought I accomplished anything. Even though I'm awake and aware and I can tap into things for other people, it wasn't until I slowed down, or let's just say my body slowed me down. Cancer got me. Stress levels were so high for so long, and I ignored all of the symptoms. I knew something was wrong. I ignored it until my body put a stop to me. And then I had to face it. Meanwhile, I had also recognized that I was putting up with a toxic relationship with a narcissist. So one of the things I know for a lot of women, we don't want to start over. High achievers, we put so much energy and effort and investment into what we're doing and what we're building. We don't want to start over. So we'll stay in toxic relationships. But when you have a diagnosis like cancer, suddenly you're starting over. You're having to face things you did not want to face. And that the beauty of all of this, and I dealt with mine naturally, the beauty of all of it, it forced me to look at all the places in my life where I was doing things, participating in things that were not good for me, and stopping them. taking stock, taking inventory, and then shifting into a whole other level of living and being. And it wasn't about doing less, because I got divorced. I had to do more, right? Now I have this farm and I have this huge house, and now my father moves in with, I had to do more, right? And as the kids got older, I had 2 kids to homeschool. I had to do more. The farm grew. Like, all these things had to be taken care of. How did I do it all? By plugging into a higher state of being. It wasn't about having to let go of things or even starting over. It was about getting on a track where that road was nice and smooth ahead of me. And I only took action on the things that I was meant to take action on. And then I let go of the things that I wasn't meant to be taking responsibility for. Huge difference. Huge difference. Was I happier? Yeah. Did I think I was going to be? No, because I was fighting this whole battle of not getting divorced, not wanting to start over, not wanting to lose what I had built. And I didn't lose anything. I actually gained a whole lot.